When our son was diagnosed with a serious mental illness and our family life was, well, it was basically turned upside down, we really had no thoughts or ideas about how, in the long run, this was going to impact us financially. To be honest, early on, the ramifications to our financial plan, it wasn't even on the radar. My wife and I were really more focused on making sure we were getting him into the right treatment programs, finding the right kind of doctors, looking for the right kind of therapists, and really just managing our lives in this new world that we had found ourselves in. But one day it hits me. You see, I'm a financial planner, and one day I'm sitting in my office and I'm working on a financial plan for a client, and I'm focusing on their retirement plan, and something about that plan made me shift my thinking to my own plan, and I suddenly realized that it's no longer just about the retirement plan that my wife and I have been building for ourselves, but are we also going to need to make sure that our child has the financial support for the rest of his life too? And what about our estate planning? What changes should we be making there? So that made me start thinking about all of the different financial aspects being impacted by this illness. And I wondered, were our experiences and concerns typical of what other families were experiencing? I'm Alan Giese, and I'm the author of When Mental Illness Strikes, Crisis Intervention for the Financial Plan. So before I wrote the book, I wanted to know what the biggest concerns and challenges were for families that had been stricken by a serious mental illness. I really wanted to know if what my family was experiencing was any different from what other families that were dealing with serious mental illnesses were experiencing. I wanted to see if I could gain more insight and confirm or maybe deny some suspicions that I had. For example, does the stigma that so often surrounds mental illness, does it affect a family's financial planning as much as we know that it does when they're seeking treatment? And does the impact of the stigma change across different levels of affluence? I wanted to see, as a financial planner, how these families felt that an advisor could have made a difference in their lives. So I conducted my own study to find out. I met with many different individuals who had direct experience, and I conducted in-depth interviews with each of them. I asked them what their most pressing concerns were and what the issues and the problems that they faced as parents were. I also asked leaders of mental health organizations like the National Alliance on Mental Illness and Mental Health America to share their perspectives on the most pressing concerns or issues that these families face. I wanted to know what keeps people up at night. I wanted to know what major challenges they faced, and specifically from a financial perspective. I wanted to drill down as deep as I could into their financial fears. I asked them if they thought generally people were successful at managing the financial challenges, and why or why not. And I asked them if they had thought an empathetic financial planner would have been helpful, particularly early in the process. Had they met with someone who clearly understood what they were going through, would it have benefited them? Well, here's what I found out. Without a doubt, the number one concern of the people I talked to was solving the problem of who is going to take care of my kid after I'm gone. This is a tough issue, and it's complex. There's no simple answers. So it's not surprising to find out that many people had delayed or were delaying resolving this for as long as they possibly could. And it was more than just who pays the bills and make sure that they take their meds. It was all about advocacy, the care, and all the little things. We talk about this in great depth in the book. Another concern I heard from every parent was a concern about law enforcement and the safety of their son or daughter. They're concerned that their kid will one day get seriously hurt if they had a run-in with an officer who hadn't received crisis intervention team training. Personally, I can tell you firsthand that the experiences that we've had with officers who have received this special training made all the difference. Not surprisingly, when we delved into their biggest financial challenges, we found that in almost every case, the mental illness blindsided the family and stressed their financial plans to the limit. In some cases, it broke them. They worried about their future healthcare costs and the accessibility that they'd have. They worried about how they're going to pay for care and for treatment. But one of the biggest worries was jeopardizing their government benefits. Benefits that their son or their daughter just has to have, not just for the monthly income that it provides, but more importantly, to be able to access treatment. So people wanted to know what tools or programs were available to them that might be able to help them out. They wanted to know more about ABLE accounts and special needs trusts and other smart financial planning tools that they should know about. They also wanted to know how to connect with the right kinds of professionals and the professionals that really understood all of these concerns, the attorneys, the planners, who really understood the depth of their situation. And when I asked how successful they felt they'd been in dealing with the financial aspects of mental illness, I found that the responses varied widely. But one thing was common. You had to be proactive. If you sat back and you did nothing, the outcomes were not good. So these are the things that we focus on in our financial planning practice, where we work with families like yours every day. It's all about finding the very best solutions for your particular family. It's about finding out what your deepest, most important concerns and challenges are, and making sure that your financial plan reflects those concerns. So I'd like to talk to you more about your particular situation, and I hope that you'll feel free to give us a call so we can start that conversation.